Lavish family. Gonna take this time to talk about will and the acceptance of that. I am driving to work at the moment. This is our first real snow of the year here in Indianapolis. And one thing I grew up in northern Indiana, so we got a lot of lake effect, a lot of weather, lots of snow, and so I am accustomed to poor weather. Indianapolis is not, and so anytime a snowflake crosses a windshield, everyone goes 40 miles an hour under the speed limit, and it's just super cautious. Which hey, I'm all good for cautious, but it results in a lot of delays. So here I am coming from the north side to the south side. I'm halfway through Indianapolis to get to the south side on the loop here on 465, and it is averaging 2 miles an hour, so I got a ways before I get to work. And so we'll talk about will. Wanted to give some value this morning, and I think some of the principles that I've created throughout my life. I think it's important to create principles for yourself, not just follow everyone else's. Not that there's not good ones, but just to give you a grasp on what that is. You mentally hold on to something and solidify a principle in your head. Not that you shouldn't be flexible with those, especially as time goes on or the environment changes, but it gives you a good foundation of how to be. And then that leads to the things that you do, and then ultimately the results that you get. And so two of the main principles that I have in this life is accepting whether you will or you won't, relative to will, which accepting whether you will, like if you're going to tell somebody that you will do something, it means you're all in to do that thing. Now, it doesn't mean that you'll actually get that done, because things do change. But when you accept I will, that means you're going to do everything in your power to get there. But then also being accountable. So that goes to my other two principles, which is do what you say and stand by what you do. So if you say you're going to do a thing, you accept that you will do this thing. And if you are, for whatever reason, unable to do that thing, you stand by that. So you communicate that. Otherwise, accepting that you will do a thing means you take on all the responsibilities that come with that. And you can't possibly know what all those responsibilities are. So within great commitment, you are accepting a higher level of obligation to achieve the objective that you have committed to achieve. And so a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people say that they'll do things and then they never do them. So then what that does is, from the other people that you speak to, they see you as someone who doesn't actually follow through on the things that you say. And and you can mitigate this by communicating with people on the variables that you are experiencing that may not allow you to achieve it, one, at all, or in the way that you originally committed to be able to do it. So I think it's very important for us, one, to reduce stress and anxiety in ourselves by really taking a step back before you commit to something, or before you say you will not commit to something, and really look at what you're willing to do, and then maybe the variables that you're going to encounter along the way to make that decision, whether you're going to commit to do it or commit not to do it. And I think those simple principles have allowed me to stay away from committing to things that I'm really not invested in, commit to people that I don't really commit to. And so that will save you a lot of time, one, and two, anxiety over committing to things that you really weren't going to do in the first place. And it also, most importantly, increases your integrity as an individual, because people now will not just think that you'll do everything, or at least commit to everything that they ask you, and they'll start to be more they'll start to be more conscious about the things that they ask you to do, because you will start to set, whether you say I will or I won't, you will start to set some conditioning for those around you on the things that you will and won't do. And you'll also start to build up trust in folks, because they will see you as a person who makes decisions um, with integrity. That when you say you're going to do a thing, you get it done, and when you say you're not going to do a thing, that you're no longer interested in moving forward in that. And so then there's no ambiguity or unclear expectations from either party, and then ultimately, in turn, everyone is on the same page, so to speak. And so it'll allow you to move through life a lot more effectively and with a lot less anxiety around the decisions that you make, because you'll be very clear about what you are in on and what you are out on. So I think where that really plays in life, to bring that to an example, is if you are speaking to a person and you offer up your services, your expertise, your energy, your time, you should not offer that up unless you are committed to going all the way to delivery of whatever that promise is. So, for example, if somebody comes to you and says, hey, I really need you to help me move on Sunday, is that something that you can do? And you say, yeah, no problem. And then, Sunday comes around and you are like, you know what, I'm not going to be able to make it today, just because you don't feel like it or whatever. Well, you do that a couple times in that same scenario, people will just stop asking you to be a part of those things. It's not that it's bad that you didn't show up because you didn't want to, but what it does is it decreases trust and integrity in the commitments that you make. People now start to realize you as someone who they can't count on, that ultimately they just can't trust that you'll show up when you say you'll show up. And when you create that, and that happens over time, right? Consistency is key, right? People start to realize the consistency of your words and your actions. And actions always speak louder than words. So you can be the nicest person in the world and say all these great things and that you'll do all these things and you'll help all these people. But if you never actually do it, people are going to start to realize that. And they're going to start depending on you less, start trusting you less, stop including you on things as much. Because when it comes to people who evaluate who they want to be around, they want to be around trustworthy people. They want to be around people that they can count on. And so when it comes time for them to invite you into something that isn't necessarily you doing something for them, but on the other side, them doing something for you, they're going to be less likely to bring you in, because they realize that every time they ask you, they can't count on you. And so why would they now invite you in on something that could benefit you? And so there's just a lot of ramifications from that people don't think about. The other thing is a lot of people go along through this life and continue to wait for others to make changes for them instead of make changes for themselves. And to me, that's a very hopeful mentality without any action behind it. And when you do that throughout life, you are at the whims of others. You are at the whims of the tide, because you have not committed to achieve a certain thing or do a certain thing no matter what. And you don't build up that I'll get it done, I will overcome mentality. You build up a mentality of if it happens, it's meant to be. I've always despised when people say that if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. To me, that's diffusion of responsibility. That's diffusion of will. Like, they're not going to take any action, so if it happens, it happens. That's a really scary way to live life, in my opinion, especially if you want things. And if you are someone who wants to get many things or achieve many things or do many things, you have to be action oriented. That's just the simplest answer I can give to you. If you don't take action towards the things that you want, then you're going to get a lot less of the things that you want, and get more of the things that you don't necessarily want, because you haven't chosen to do whatever it takes to get those things. So will is extremely important. If you have the will to do a thing, you really need to decide what the level of will you have is, right? Because not everybody has the will to achieve the things that they want. Actually, most people don't, because they don't realize that your will is attached to action. So no matter the wants that you have, the needs that you have, if you don't take the action towards those things, you are less likely, profoundly less likely, to get those things. And if you reside in that mentality that, well, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be, you're probably going to be a very disappointed person, that or a very content person, right? Like you are just content with the way that life goes, and there's nothing wrong with that. You just accept things the way that they are, and you move forward through life. But for anyone who wants a thing and continues to say that they want things, but never really follows all the way through, never takes the action, and doesn't commit to do whatever it takes to get those things, they're going to end up being very disappointed. And I think that creates a lot of anxiety in life, around failure, so to speak. So they accept that they failed, but they never accepted the responsibilities to get what they wanted. And so that's a very self-efficating prophecy, and it makes life very hard on people because they keep thinking they failed, when in fact the only thing that they failed on was actually committing to do the thing and then taking the action to do that thing, or actions towards achieving what they wanted. And so it's not the failing of achieving the thing that is really the issue. It's the failing to take the action towards achieving that thing. So I hope that this morning, so much anxiety, you just got to get the fuck up. You got to take action towards what you want to do. And if you don't know how to get there, put yourself in environments where you believe, and you may not know exactly what those environments are, but where you believe people have more information around the thing that you want to achieve, and are part of the lifestyle or the career that you want to be in, or just overall in the environments that you believe are conducive to the things that you enjoy and you want to do, and the things that you want to achieve, and you'll find out. But if you never do that and you keep asking why you're not getting those things, it's not because you just don't get those things. It's because you just don't take the actions consistently enough and long enough to achieve those things. So accept that about yourself, and the anxiety will go away, the stress will go away. If you're not willing to do those things, then be real with yourself and just say, I'm not willing to do those things. And then that will change your perspective on the things that you are willing to do, and it will limit all of that unproductive and unhealthy thought process that you have around you being successful or you achieving things, because you'll start limiting the things that you actually want to achieve, because you'll accept the things you're actually willing to do or not willing to do, and it will simplify things greatly for you and hopefully give you clarity around the things that are really important to you. All right, guys, hopefully that helps this morning. I'm going to get back on the road here because the speed is picking up. Drive safe today. Have a great day. Stay lavish.